Hey, it's Chris. Um, yes, this is a vlog style again because I'm on my way home from work, or not from work, from my mom, and I'm not gonna have time to do a video when I get home because Luca has probably lost his mind trying to figure out why I'm not home. So I'm gonna have to, snuggle the puppy a bunch when I get home because I'm sure he misses me. And it also kind of looks weird because my phone is on the dash mount. Um, so it's kind of not where it really should be. But it's safer for me and it's easier. Otherwise my hand would start hurting because I hold my phone and then I put my hand on the steering wheel and it just really, really hurts to hold it there for a while. So this is how it should be. It might also be a little bit of a longer video because I have time and there's some things that I do want to talk about. Like I said in one of my very first videos, I want to talk about my concerns and everything that I'm excited about, all of that stuff. So I'm going to be going over some of that while I'm driving. And I am actually trying to keep my eyes on the road, so I am driving safe. I'm just doing a video with you. So today is 7 weeks on testosterone. Feels like just last week I was saying that it was a month on testosterone, and next week is going to be 2. So that's pretty exciting. The time is going by extremely fast to where my timelines are almost up. I think my voice is actually starting to change now. I can feel it reverberating in my chest a lot more than I used to be able to. Like when I first started thinking it was changing, I felt it in my chest and I was like, oh, this is it, this is what's happening. But it kind of keeps going back and forth. So I'm not sure if it's my levels or whatever, if it's just taken a while for the testosterone to make it up this far to do its job on my vocal cords. I'm not sure. But when I'm in a normal speaking voice and I'm not like loud or whatever, usually if I'm not loud or too soft like I'm whispering, this is what it sounds like. So I do believe that it's dropping, if not just a teeny tiny bit, which is cool. I'm excited to be able to be in a place where my voice has finally dropped, and like a year from now, and be able to look back on these specific videos and see how badly I wanted it and how excited I was for these changes to happen. Because that's basically what this channel is for anyway, is to be able to document my transition, since I decided I was going to do a transition medically. And it's just kind of nice to be able to look back. I even now look back at my first video and I'm just like, oh, I was so cute. So it's a thing that I just like to be able to do, looking back, kind of seeing all of my own hardships and realizing how much I actually did and all the things that I did go through to get to where I am at the point to where I'm looking back at this specific video or another specific video where I was like, I want face hair so bad, or I want my voice to drop, I want my body hair, and I'll be sitting there maybe in a year, year and a half, even 5 years with, big old bushy feet, chest hair, and my voice is like super deep and masculine, and I'll be like, that's adorable. And just being able to see my transition happen, even if it's not, a day-by-day thing, just because I feel like day-by-day is a little bit excessive, I would rather do it weekly anyway. Because, you can talk about what happened throughout the week in a video. It's not that hard to do. So, I do believe that my voice is actually starting to change now, only because I can feel it in my chest, and when I talk, I can hear it, and it just seems, I am so sorry, a tractor trailer just pulled out in front of me, did not have a blinker, or a turning signal, or whatever you want to call it. Like, I almost hit him. And I was paying attention. Anyway. So, I do believe that that's happening. Another thing that I believe is happening is a little bit of facial hair. I'm starting to notice that the hairs above my lip are starting to get a little bit longer, and they're darkening up a little bit. I'm worried at this point that I'm going to have to shave it, because that's going to be the only thing that I'm going to be shaving, because I don't really have any darkening or lengthening of anything where like a beard would be. And if I shave, I'm going to want to shave my whole face. So that's the thing that I'm really concerned about, because I don't want to just shave my mustache. It's like an insecurity type thing. Like, I don't want to do it. So if that's what I have to do, then that's what I have to do. But it's not going to be what I want, because I just want my facial hair so bad. It's ridiculous. I want it so bad. But I'm growing a mustache, which is really cool. A couple days ago, I was fixing my binder, and I, had my shirt up so I could fix my binder. And I looked down at my stomach, and I'm starting to get belly hairs. They're getting a little bit longer, a little bit darker, kind of like my mustache hair. And it's definitely visibly there, to me anyway. I don't know if it's just my mind imagining things, because that's what happens, is I have these expectations, like testosterone is going to do this, testosterone is going to do that, and I just kind of orbit in my mind, I guess you could say, to where I see things that are not actually there. So it's a possibility that that's what's going on. But I figured that I would include it just because. I'm trying to think of some other changes that I've noticed. Nothing really, honestly. Like, if anything is changing, it's very slow or very subtle. Minuscule things that are changing. I will say, though, being almost 2 months on T, when I first started T, like my very first shot, I took that like the last or the day after the last day of my last shark week, and I have yet to see a drop of blood anywhere. So it completely stopped. Now that's not to say that it stopped for good, because I do still have those parts and it's very possible for that to happen. But right now, as of right now, it hasn't, and I'm very thankful. I do sometimes get crampy, as if I were going to, but nothing ever happens. Nothing comes of it. So I'm not sure if that's a normal thing. I'm used to having cramps, so I don't know if it's just like a thing that's happening, or my body is trying and not being successful. I don't know. I figured I would throw that in there though, because that's not something that I've ever talked about before. So, and everyone is different. There's, guys that could be on T for 5 months and they still have Shark Week, and I feel for them. I really do. But personally, I wouldn't be able to handle it. Just because when I realized I had 2 since I realized that I was actually trans, and since I was in denial for like a whole last year. But when I finally just kind of figured it out, I'd had 2 at that point, and I was in misery. I was absolutely miserable. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to stay in bed and, cry, because it's not something that I'm supposed to be going through. Granted, nature says otherwise, but in my mind, having a male mind, I'm not supposed to have the parts that I have, and I'm sure as heck not supposed to be bleeding out of them. So it's an issue that I've dealt with, especially near the end. It was really bad. Dysphoria everywhere, and I couldn't do it. So I am thankful that they did stop, because I was expecting that it wouldn't, stop automatically. But after, the first month, I was like, alright, maybe something, maybe it's just my body is shocked by the new hormones. Who knows? And now, I probably would have been going into my second one since I started T, and there's still nothing. Haven't been cramping. Nothing out of the ordinary, and I'm really, really happy about that. I'm just excited to be able to be one of the guys that was able to start T and then never have another Shark Week. But then again, like I said, I am only 7 weeks, so that could change if my levels change or whatever. And I do end up becoming really tolerable of medications really quickly. Like my anxiety meds, I can take them for like a month or 2, and then they stop working because my body's gotten used to them. So I don't know if it's going to be the same way with testosterone. I just know how my body works and how I can take a medication and it just kind of stops working, just because I've gotten used to it. My body's gotten used to it being in my system. Hopefully that doesn't happen. And there is one thing that I do want to talk about. I have posted it on Reddit. I'm going to be posting it on an amino later. I did get an amino. I was watching YouTube channel that said something about the amino app, and they've got like a trans amino, and it was just So I'm in a trans amino, I'm in two LGBTs, and, it's a decent thing. It's kind of like Reddit a little bit. I mean, it's just like a different version of Reddit, I feel like. But it's still nice. It's still something that I can go to for advice and to help people and all of that other stuff. So, I mean, I'm happy about it. But I am going to be posting it on there later, too. As mentioned, I take my anxiety meds and they stop working. For the last couple shots, I've gotten to the point where I psych myself out. Today was shot day, but I decided to do it last night. Granted, it was like at 1 o'clock in the morning, 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. So it technically was today. I just knew that I wouldn't have time to do it today because there was so much stuff to do before I left. So I did it last night before I went to bed. And of course I psyched myself out. I cried. My anxiety was spiking. My heart was beating really fast. I was getting sweaty. It was all kinds of bad. All because I had to do a shot. And it's not, the preparing of anything. It's, I can take my vial out, clean the top off, change my needle out, stick it in there, draw the medication or draw the testosterone, take the needle off, put it in my shot, change the needle, make sure that it's, got the drop on the top, put the thing back on, everything is fine. And then as soon as I put the needle down after it's ready to where I can just pull the cap off and inject, that's when I start getting anxious. I just don't know why. I don't like needles, but, I mean, come on. I don't like needles, and I have so many tattoos. I have 7 tattoos. And I don't freak out for tattoos or piercings or anything like that. I also have 7 piercings. Don't freak out about them. It's just whenever it's time to inject, I have an issue. I'm going to light this real quick. And it concerns me. It does. Because I don't want to get to a point where I have a panic attack so bad that I physically cannot give myself my shot because I need it. And that's what keeps me going. That's what is in the back of my mind telling me you have to do this or you're not going to be where you want to be. And it sucks that I have to tell myself that every single time I go to take my shot because I'm freaking out. But it is. I have to tell myself that I can't go and not take my shot. Your syringe is full. Your needle is prepared. Everything is ready to go. You can't back out. You can't. And, it's like a conversation that I have to have with myself, saying, if I don't do this, everything is going to be at a standstill. I haven't made much progress at this point. But my voice isn't going to change to go back. I understand that. All the changes that have happened will stay, which is gross. And like I said, other feminine stuff hasn't really changed at all. My body figure is the same. My chest size kind of decreased a little bit, but I'm not helping that back. My voice has changed. That's not going to change. The growth isn't going to change. And nothing else really in this department. But I want to keep moving forward instead of being at a standstill. And the only way that's going to happen is if I inject myself. Just because I don't really have anybody around to do that for me. So it's me against myself and my anxiety, which is a battle that I fight every single Thursday. And I fear that it's going to hurt me in the long run, because at the end of August, school starts back up, and I have classes from 8 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night on Thursday, and I'm going to have to take the shot during that time. And, I don't want to be sitting, in the bathroom or wherever psyching myself out to take my shot, because it's going to waste time, and I'll have to go to class and all of this other stuff. So that's a concern that I do have. I just am really worried about it, because I psyched myself out for like half hour last night. I even used a 25-gauge needle, so I knew that it wasn't going to be as bad as the 23, and I was fine. I had my skin bunched, and I had the needle in my hand, and I went to go draw back to go put it in, and I stopped myself. I couldn't do it. And I feel like maybe it's a psychological thing. It very well could be a psychological thing. And I had contemplated trying to find a doctor near me to where I would be able to take my vial, take my needles and everything, and just have them do it for me, because I'm at the point now where every time I do it, I freak out a little bit longer, and a little bit longer, and a little bit longer. It started out I freaked out for 10 minutes, and then I finally did it, and the next time I freaked out for like 20, and now I'm freaking out for 30, 45 minutes, having a full-blown panic attack to where I can't do it, and I just don't really know where to turn, I guess. I know this is a lot, and I probably sound really repetitive, but I really don't know what to do. I really don't. I hate shot day with a burning passion, but I don't want to do gel, and I don't want to inject anywhere else, because I'm used to my legs. It's just, I know that it's a 30 to 40 second process, and then it's over. And my mind knows that, because as soon as it's over, it's like, okay, it's over. But it's the whole getting to that point part that I have to stick the needle in. And I think that's where the brain block comes from, is that I have to stick the needle in. And every time I've done it, the last 3 or 4 times, I have felt it go into my muscle, and it hurts. Not to the point where I want to pull out, but to the point where I question myself, why am I actually doing this? And then the little voice in the back of my head says, because if you don't, you won't be seen. as Chris. You won't be heard as Chris. You will be misgendered and dead named and all of that other stuff for as long as you don't continue to do this. And I understand right now I am in the middle of transition, very beginning of transition actually. So I'm not where I want to be. And I just shots are something that I have to deal with, and it's a huge anxiety-inducing situation for me. I've been trying to find new methods. I've seen a couple. I don't know if they would work because I use 1.5-inch needles, and there's, people on YouTube who are like, okay, so you gotta stretch the skin. Okay, if I stretch the skin, that means there's less to go through, which means I'm basically shoving a 1.5-inch needle and it could potentially hit my bone, because I think of the worst case scenarios every single time. That's just how my brain works. I can't see a bright side with something, and with other things, I can say this tunnel is a foot long, and I can see the other side, and it's bright. And there's other times where it's like a never-ending chase, and there's no light at the end. So, unfortunately, that's just how it is for me. But it is a concern. I passed out one day. I got nauseous after my shot last night. I have a mini panic attack every time I have to take one, and it's just to the point where I don't want to deal with it anymore. I really don't. But I don't have anything else to do, because, as I said, I don't want to do the gel. I want to have it in my system, and the only way to do that is by an injection. And it's not even the pain that really bothers me, it's the fact that I have a panic attack before, which probably causes the pain, because my mind is so worked up, and then, when you have an anxiety attack, you're all tense, and I feel like that's why it hurts, because my muscles are tense, and I can sit there after a panic attack and, feel my leg and be like, alright, my muscle's not tense, and then I go to put the alcohol swab on, and it's not tense, and then I take my 2 little pieces of paper towel or toilet paper, whatever I'm using to keep my bunch together, and I'm not tense. And as soon as I put the needle in, I'm like, okay, so I'm not tense, but I think that I do tense up a little bit because it hurts. It's not pleasant. And the first shot I ever did, I was anxious as hell, and I didn't feel a thing at all. Felt nothing. Maybe I felt the initial prick of the needle going in, but after that I felt nothing. And then ever since that one, I can't do it. So if anybody has anything, any recommendations, any help at all, I would really, really, really appreciate it, because I can't keep doing this whole freaking out before my shot thing, especially with school coming up and having to take my shots on Thursdays. I'm just not going to be able to do it. And I don't want to halt the progress I've made. I don't want to pause my transition because I'm too much of a wimp to stab myself with a needle. And looking back, it's stupid, because it's like you just stab it, inject it, and you pull the needle out, and bam, you're done. Like, it's a simple process. It really is. And my mind can't wrap around that. So, I'm not sure if it's a psychological thing or what it is, but that's what I'm dealing with. So, again, if anybody has any recommendations, that'd be great. I would appreciate it so much. And that's basically all I have. I did say this would be longer because I did want to talk about the anxiety of my shot. I did want to express that this thing does happen. It's not one person that just has anxiety about taking a shot. A lot of people probably do, and they're just too proud to say anything about it because we're supposed to be men. Men don't express feelings. Men don't express anything. They're just like hard as turtle shells all the time. And that's not how it is. I mean, my partner is a turtle on the outside, like in public, and at home he's like a soft little potato. So not all guys are turtles or rocks or hard exteriors. Like, they are soft sometimes, and it's good to express the vulnerable side of you. And it doesn't make you less of a man. It doesn't mean that, you're doing something wrong. That's just how it is. I mean, we were raised as females. We were raised to express our emotions, and then, we're transitioning to a gender that was raised to not show emotion, not cry, don't do this, don't do that. And in my personal feelings, I feel like I have to adhere to that, but I'm not going to. Because I am a man regardless of how expressive I am of my feelings, how, feminine I am, or how much attitude I have, because that's just I am. I never really liked putting a label on myself, and I'm not going to start putting a label on myself now, because there's no point in it. So, just remember, you're valid. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not a man, or that you're doing it wrong, because everybody is different, and you can express yourself in any way you want to. It doesn't invalidate you. It's taken me a while to realize this, because, as I said, when I first started transitioning, I was like, okay, I have to be this hard exterior person that shows no feelings. And I cry all the time. I still do. I still cry all the time over the littlest stuff. And I am soft. I don't want to be seen as some burly, hard exteriored, feelingless person, because that's not who I am. I have a lot of empathy and sympathy for people. I have a lot of feelings, and being a female for 27 years, I do have a sassy attitude, and that's just how I am. That's who I am. And, that's not, I lost my train of thought. It doesn't mean that I'm any less of a man. I am still a man. I am still valid, and I do deserve the respect as if I were cis. I don't look cis, no. I don't sound cis, no. But I am a man. I have feelings. I express my feelings. I cry. I'm a crybaby. I'm not going to put on a front so people accept me more. I'm going to be myself. I'm going to come out of my shell because I want to break the stereotypes of what a man is supposed to be. And I hope that, I could change somebody's mind, because there's going to be one day when somebody comes up to me and they don't know that I was her at one point, and they're going to think that I've always been a dude, and it's going to be a great feeling. And no, I'm not going to be like, oh, by the way, I'm trans. No, because that doesn't matter. Because I will finally be seen as who I am instead of who I was. So maybe that was repetitive too, but whatever. I'm leaving this on a good note. If anybody has any advice, hit me up. Just remember, you're valid. You are. And nobody can take that away from you. You don't have to have a hard exterior. You can be a soft guy. There are soft guys out there. For instance, it's a thing. Don't let anybody invalidate you. It might be hard right now. It's difficult as hell for me. So just, keep on going, and it will get better. And if you need anybody to talk to, I'm here. As always, I put my Kick and Reddit down in the description. If anybody needs to talk about anything, I'm pretty much an open book about this kind of thing because I want more visibility for trans guys. So that's just how it is. So hope y'all have a really great day, and I hope that you feel valid as fuck all the time. And I will see y'all next week.